Hi guys, my name is Dave Trivedi and I'll be doing a presentation today for my Information and Content Management course. The topic today we'll be talking about is Enterprise 2.0. Specifically, we'll be talking about the advantages of Enterprise 2.0 and how it can help a business in terms of systematizing routine tasks as well as helping with documentation. So let's get started. So, a brief overview of what we're going to cover today. We'll be talking about, first off, what is Web 2.0, as you need to understand this to understand Enterprise 2.0. Then, we'll be talking about Enterprise 2.0 and its benefits. We'll then be talking about the chosen system for this project, as well as we'll be mentioning how this Enterprise 2.0 system could help with improving documentation of the business, as well as with systematizing workflow of the business. And then we'll give a brief conclusion. Okay, so starting off now, what is Web 2.2? Now, this is important in understanding what is Enterprise 2.2. So basically, Web 2.2 is the current state of the web compared to the initial days. This is characterized by greater interactivity and collaboration between users, utilizing enhanced communication channels as well. Now, in these days, examples of Web 2.0 systems would be Facebook, Dropbox, LinkedIn, basically those forms of social media. This is because there are many ways users can interact through those systems and collaborate over them, as well as many businesses actually use those systems to collaborate and use it as a medium for marketing products. Okay, so now that we know what Web 2.0 is, let's move on to what is Enterprise 2.0. So Enterprise 2.0 is simply put Web 2.0 that has been strategically integrated into an organization's intranet and extranet as well as their business processes, right? Now, the main difference between a Web 2.0 system and an Enterprise 2.0 system is that the business or company fully benefits from using the community site, as compared to using a Web 2.0 system, which is it could be more social than business wise. Something like Facebook, it would be much more social than having a business atmosphere around it. So Enterprise 2.0 is integrated into the intranet and extranet of a business, as well as its processes. Examples of Enterprise 2.0 would be Joomla and SharePoint, Drupal, Concrete 4, and so on, etc. Okay, now the benefits of using Enterprise 2.0 is that we'll have increased collaboration. Now, what this means is that the due to the way information is shared on an Enterprise 2.0 system, it helps employees of a business, for example, to be able to collaborate and work together with one another, to be able to share information, to share ideas. This would therefore also increase in productivity. Now, this is a next benefit because of this increased share of information, collaboration, and so on. There would be a much higher increased rate of productivity. The business would be progressing much faster. There's ease of information as well because with Enterprise 2.0 systems, they use a feature called tags and ratings. Now, what this means is that there are certain articles in an Enterprise 2.0 system that would have ratings as well as it would have tags. Now, tags would make it much easier to find a specific topic that you're looking for, as well as ratings. Ratings would help in terms of finding which article was the most helpful. So, for example, a employee might need to find out how to fix something in the business. Using the Enterprise 2.0 system, they could search the business's intranet or extranet to see if another employee may have had the same issue and may have posted about it on the system. And in this case now, this employee could search for it using maybe a tag, for example, to quickly find the subject interest of the area. And then they could look at ratings. So if there are multiple subjects on this certain topic, maybe some articles weren't well written and didn't help other employees as much, right? So other employees might give it something like a 3 out of 5 stars, 2 out of 5, give it a low rating. So now this new employee that's looking for the problem would know, okay, it's not good looking at those topics. Maybe they weren't that helpful, but maybe there's this one topic that had a 5 out of 5 star rating due to its helpfulness. So due to this now, this said person could click on that link and would be able to find information on how to fix whatever problem it is. So that is what is meant by ease of information. Additionally, as well, Enterprise 2.0 systems uses blogs and wikis because it's a great way to establish two-way communication. So, for example, a business could actually use those blogs or wikis for something similar to what I mentioned with ease of information. They could use it to share tips among the employees of the business. So maybe they might have tips. They could spread it out through blogs and wikis so other employees could see as well as the businesses could use those blogs and wikis to interact with their customers as well. And for example, they could probably get customer feedback on like upcoming project or something. So customers would have that input early on, and it would benefit the business because the business will know that okay, they're developing a certain product that customers would want. Now, it's also lightweight. Now, what this means is that Enterprise 2.0 being lightweight means that it's actually sorry, does not need many resources to maintain, as well as it requires minimal system resources. And it's easy to use. Now, with Enterprise 2.0 systems, there's a very simple user interface which would require no user training to use, as an employee now using an Enterprise 2.0 system would be able to quickly figure out how to use it. Okay, moving on. So now we'll be discussing the chosen system for this project. I have chosen to go with Joomla, and my reason for choosing Joomla as the Enterprise 2.0 system is because it offers a wide range of advantages when it comes to helping out a business. Now, the first advantage is that it's multilingual. What this means is that Joomla is actually offered in over 70 different languages, so it's not restricted to being only English, for example. Other countries that maybe might not speak English, or the businesses that might not speak English, they could still use Joomla as an Enterprise 2.0 system to easier manage the content of their business. My apologies for these pop-ups. I have no idea why it's happening. Now, search and sorry, flexible. Joomla is also flexible. Now, what this means is that you could make a blog, you could make a business website, an intranet community website from being extremely simple to being something complex. Joomla has the ability to actually make a simple site or make a complex site. It's flexible enough. It's not only like you could use Joomla for simple sites only, or you could only use it for building complex systems. It can use for anyone. Now, it could be extended. Now, what this means is that Joomla actually has over 7,500 extensions that are available to extend and broaden the functionalities of Joomla. Now, what this means is that while you'll have a basic Joomla feature, you could as well also have extensions that would increase maybe the page building feature of it. Like you could download an extension in Joomla that would help make building pages much more easier. There's user and menu management. What this means is that for menu management, you could create as many menus and menu items as you would ever need in Joomla. And user management uses something what is known as an access control list to manage your users and give them different types of access throughout the business, which we'll get to later when we will be talking about this scenario. It uses cache management, which you could speed up your website by caching, as well as lastly, it's actually open sourced, which means it's free and it will be free forever. Now, in terms of improving functionality, in terms of improving functionality, improving documentation, the way Joomla could actually help with this is what is known as content version control. Now, simply put, content version control actually talks about an article. So, for example, if an employee posts an article on the Enterprise 2.0 system for the business, right? They would edit it, they would post it. That would be like version 1, for example. If another employee comes in and edits that same article, makes some changes, that would be considered like version 2. As we could see from the screenshot below, here's an example of there's a date, there's a version note, there's an author and character count. As we could see, the version with the star next to it was the author was Jesse. And then later on, this guy named Archie came and edited it. And as you could see, his version had less words, in which case he edited the document and removed some words. Now, what this means is that it would be much more easier for a business to manage their documentation because they'll be able to see the different versions of an article as being changed. They would be able to manage this much more better. Additionally to content version control, a next point is that in content version control as well, if I'll just go back to the previous slide, you'll see that there's something called compare. Now, what this means is that it would compare two different edits to see the changes that were made. So, as we can see here, we have the first change, which is the default article, which it was just like this. Then we have the new edited version, as well as now you can see what it does differently. So what is in green are words that were added in, because as you can see here, it was just Joomla. Then it now says Joomla now does more. Now does more was recently added in. As we could see, what's in red was recently removed. So all of this actually helps to make it much more easier for a business to improve their documentation. Okay, moving on to the next functionality. Uh, the next functionality for improving documentation is user management. Now, as stated previously when I was mentioning the benefits, user management actually helps to manage the different accessibilities that each user have for the Enterprise 2.0 system, or in this case, Joomla. Now, the benefit of doing this is that different users would have different levels of access, so they would interact with the system differently. So, for example, as we could see in this screenshot here, an administrator would have all of these priorities. They would be able to log into the site, they would be able to log into the backend, the administrator, they would be able to access offline, they would be able to access the administrator interface, they would be able to create and delete, and so on. Now, why would a business want to do this? Obviously, they would not want to give every single employee the same level of power as one another, right? Maybe managers, for example, would have admin control to an Enterprise 2.0 system, whereas regular employees might have something as simple as like, for example, an author or an editor or a publisher. Now, those guys, they won't have the level of permissions as an administrator. However, they might just be able to do basic stuff such as edit and post articles. So that way, they could still interact with the system. They'll be there posting articles, they'll be editing in case of any mistakes, which would be recorded on the version history as well. And the only thing is, they would be restricted. Like they would not be able to go ahead and delete a user, for example. Whereas an administrator would help to would be able to actually do all of that. So that improves documentation in that way. Now, when it comes to systematizing workflow, one of the functionality that Joomla offers is messaging, right? So as we could see in this screenshot here, we have a test message. You could see it's red. You could see who it's from, as well as you could see the date. Now, this is beneficial with systematizing workflow as employees could message one another, remind each other of maybe responsibilities or certain tasks they have to take on, and so on and so forth. They would be able to, it would smooth out the workflow, increase that collaboration between employees, as well as help the general business productivity be increased. So, in conclusion, what we learned in this presentation, we actually learned what is an Enterprise 2.0. We learned the various advantages that it could provide for a business, as well as the differences between Enterprise 2.0 and Web 2.0, as well as we learned how these various features of Joomla, in this case, which was the chosen system, Enterprise 2.0, we learned how the functionalities of it could help improve documentation of a business as well as systematize the workflow. So I hope this was a very productive video. I hope you guys learned something, and I'll thank you guys for watching. And last but not least, these are my references. So thank you and enjoy.